But before I start, I always talk a little bit. You know, we always try to teach our kids in our family about how to eat right, obviously, and remember one of the last things we talked about was how the antioxidants and how you're getting those is by the colors and by the greens and the yellows and the reds. And you look down at your plate, if you got some of those colors, you probably got the antioxidants covered. Well, they were so proud the other day when I got home, and they said, "Hey, we got all those colors covered." And I looked down, and they were eating M&Ms. So they didn't quite get it all the way. Anyway, so up here are some pictures of the hikes that we do. And I want to make sure that everyone knows that they're welcome. You can bring friends, spouses, whoever you want to bring. I mean, they're great. We show up with 70, 80 people at Bolsa Chica, and the people that walk there normally look at us like, "Who are you people?" And we just move in and we just do this great hike. And that's usually where the first one, actually the first one this year is at Central Park at the library, and we start there and we just walk. It's like an hour and 15 minutes, just to get everybody active, to teach you that being active is part of this program and getting yourself fit and healthy. So we go all over the place, and we try to make each hike just a little bit tougher. And I think one of these is at El Morro, where there's some nice hills, and it's fun to see that by the end everyone's in better shape and they're feeling better about it. But you should come if no other reason than you have a captured audience of Carolyn and I. Carolyn usually leads it, and I usually stay with the very last person to make sure everyone's accounted for. And so you have us as a captured audience. So you can spend an hour just asking us questions about nutrition and the program and recipes from Carolyn. And it's fun. It's a great time for everyone sharing of what recipe is working well and, you know, who's favorite and what have they done. And it's just kind of a good time for sharing. And I'm going to have Matt speak a minute about the boot camps that we offer. And in your packet, there is a notation for the personal training special prices that we have and for the boot camp. But Matt, why don't you go ahead and do that and see how.
So boot camp this time is a little bit different. Last time we just kind of threw you in, and it wasn't so personal to just a takedowner. So what we decided this time is we're going to add a special boot camp. It's going to be Friday evenings at 6 p.m.
Should I just
Okay, it's going to be at our Main Street gym. It's going to be in the parking lot.
Should I get rid of
So
that?
don't park in the parking lot because we need to use the whole thing. All right, Sam and myself will be leading it. It's going to be more of a beginner's type workout. All right, so we're not looking to get in and just beat you down so you never want to do it again. All right, we're going to have big circuits, and the nice thing about boot camp is everyone does it to their own ability. Okay. What we're adding to it basically is you do have the chance to jump in our other classes because we do offer 15 classes a week. We have them at 6 a.m., 8:30 a.m., and 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. And those are off-site. They're at Manning Park, which is on Delaware in Atlanta. And in evenings, we do them at Dwyer Middle School, which is on 14th and Palm. Okay, so what we're doing for the Takedown Challengers is you can upgrade, if you will, to the unlimited boot camp. It's going to be $30, as opposed to normally it's $179 to jump in these classes. So before you start that, if you decide you want to do the $30 unlimited, you must do a consultation with either myself or Paul. Because we want to really take the time to explain to you what the program is and make sure that you're taken care of to the fullest. So if you decide that you want to join, we'll be passing out a form tonight. Just fill it out, $30, and shoot me an email, or you can shoot Carolyn an email. She'll direct it to me. You guys all have her email in your packets. And we'll make sure we'll get that consultation booked as soon as possible so you can ideally get rolling Monday morning, if you will. What's up?
What is a boot camp?
Boot camp is we sell it as a cardiovascular class. It's a great way for you to get out and do cardio. We usually explain that you're going to be burning upwards to 800 calories. We start every single class with we stretch so that you come out, you're warmed up. We do 2 big blocks of exercises. Sometimes we'll bring out resistance bands. Sometimes we bring out sandbells, kettlebells. It's a great workout.
Do it.
Yeah, we have a lot of people in the boot camps already that are doing it, so you'll see some familiar faces, but the nice thing is about boot camp is it's a group class, so you make friends out there, and every single class is 75 minutes. Any other questions? All right, let's get the show on the road.
Thank
Back
you.
to you.
Okay. All right, so everybody has a green sheet, and this is talking about all the cardio opportunities that we're doing throughout the Takedown Challenge. And this will start, I think the first one is actually this Sunday. That's our first hike, and as Paul said, that's at Central Park. And then every Tuesday evening, this is a new thing we're going to add, will be a power walk in the Bolsa Chica wetlands. We'll meet at the same time, the same place. We'll do the same course every time. We're going to start promptly at 6. We're not going to wait. The course will be marked. If you get there late, the course is marked. You can just go. It's a 45-minute walk. It's 3 miles. It's great. It's beautiful out there. And I've done it every night at the same time, and I think we'll be fine with daylight throughout the whole Takedown. So please come out. It's a really fun thing to do, but it's not a leisure walk. It's a power walk, and it's meant to get your heart rate elevated. It's meant to be a cardio walk. Okay, so plan for that. And it's rocky, so if you have some trail type shoes, wear some trail shoes. Don't just wear running shoes if you have an option. If you have running shoes, you'll be fine, but it's pretty uneven, so bring something if you want it. Another new thing that we're adding is a bike ride, a trail bike ride, and actually Eric will be leading that. This is Eric Larson. And he might not be able to do it 1 or 2 times because he'll be traveling for work, but we'll be there, and we're going to choose the same course probably every single time as well, but it will get increasingly harder, you know, depending on where our group is. So it's for probably kind of experienced people. What do you think? I mean,
you need to have a mountain bike, preferably with shocks. If you haven't done any trail riding, the first time we do it is very doable. It's not, we've got some slight hills, but anybody can finish it. It's not that bad. The second time out, we'll try to go past and go up a little higher. So I think as long as you have a mountain bike with dirt off-road tires on it,
you do what you can. You know, you do what you can. It's all marked trails. It's not a place where you're going to get lost. So, but we're going to try that and see what happens. See if it's fun, if you like it. And then you all saw this, and then the flip side is all the things that you'll need throughout the Takedown Challenge for sure. Everyone will need a food scale. Everyone will need some type of a protein powder, and then everything else is kind of optional. You know, but I think you'd be more successful if you have it, but you're not going to fail if you don't have it. But the scale and the protein powder for sure. And then the first set of articles in here on the left side, reading material, but informative reading material that I'd really like you to read, and I'm going to encourage you to do that by on Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock. I'm going to send everybody a quiz, and there's 10 questions, and they're all in these articles. And then whoever sends me back 10 right answers first, because I can read it in email, who sends it first will win a free training session at the gym. Okay, so it's worth reading. I don't just pick the articles just for fun. I really take a lot of time and effort, and you know, I really want you to read these. And the theme of this Takedown Challenge is kind of outlined in these articles. And the theme for me this time is, hopefully for you, is that we're going to really work on positive behavior modification. This isn't about trying to be perfect. This is about trying to be better than who you were when you very first start this. Okay, so from who you are tonight and who you are in 4 weeks from tonight, hopefully you've made some positive changes that you can live with, because this is hopefully going to become the beginning of a lifestyle for you. So really read these, because that's what I really want you to get from this, that it's not about being perfect, it's about trying to be better. You know, doing things that are doable for you, that you can live with. You're never going to fail at this program if you just try. You're just going to, you know, maybe you're going to have great days. Maybe you're going to have days where you didn't do so well. Sometimes it's just due to circumstances. And you try to learn from those circumstances, like, man, why did that happen to me? How could I do better at that next time, because I went to that business meeting and I wasn't prepared, and what could I have done differently? Maybe it's as simple as having a bar in your purse or in your bag or in your desk, so that you don't go 7 hours in between meals. Now you have an option because you've learned a little bit. So try to learn from the mistakes. Don't beat yourself up. Try to figure out why you made that mistake and how you could not make it next time. Okay, that's really what I want you to get at. Okay, and then the next sheet is the goal sheet. This is a lavender sheet. I really, really want everybody to fill this out, and I want you to bring it to your first weigh-in. And then I'm going to take it from you at your first weigh-in, and then I'm going to reply to every single one of you that turns this in midway during the takedown challenge to support you that you're on track for your goals. So this really means a lot to me, and I'll tell you what I learned the last takedown challenge when we had 171 people participate. Every single person that turned this in did really well and finished the takedown challenge. The people who did not return this to me did not finish the takedown challenge. So it shows me that there was no commitment from the very beginning. So this is like your commitment to yourself. You signed up for this program. You are making a statement by doing that you have an intention to change, to do something better and for yourself. Fill this out and be really honest, and so then I can support you in that, because that shows that you have intention. So please do that and return it at your first weigh-in. So you're going to bring this in. Yes?
Carolyn, what exactly does the personal accountability plan?
Accountability plan is, what are you going to do to get yourself there? I'm going to go to all the weigh-ins. I'm going to go to the boot camps. I'm going to follow through with my cardio. I'm going to help. My friends are going to be my support bubble. Whatever it is, whatever your thing is that you've put out there in the universe to say that I'm going to be successful with this program. Okay? So how you speak about it is how it's going to be for you. If you leave this meeting tonight and you go home and you're like, oh man, I just started this diet program, it's going to be so hard, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. Well, it will be exactly like that for you. If you go home and you're like, I'm so excited, this is the new thing I'm going to do, I'm really, really looking forward to changing some bad habits, to improving, whatever it is, that's what it will be for you. So it's how you speak about it and it's how you believe it is. That's what it is, okay? So really believe that. It's, again, back to the power of intention. Okay, journaling. Everyone has a food journal or just a little journal in your packet. These are the things that I want you to learn from journaling. You must journal for me. I can't learn about you and help you and support you if I don't see what you're doing. I want to have your journal at every single weigh-in to be able to look at it and maybe troubleshoot and help you. So be super honest in your journal. I will never, and no one will ever beat you up for your answers if you ate a cupcake. Write it down. I want to know, why did you choose that? And how did you feel when you ate that? Not emotionally so much, but physically. How did that make you feel? Write it down. You're accountable to this program, to me, to someone, okay? This is on the reverse, kind of what I'm looking for. The time of day that you ate, what you ate, you know, what you did for your exercise that day. I want to make sure you're drinking your water. And ultimately, at the end of the day, how you felt. A lot of energy, no energy, wanted to take a nap, whatever it was, write it down so we can see a pattern, okay? Journaling's a really great and powerful tool. Okay, then the coral sheet talks about our rules. We do have rules with this program. This is a contest and there's a lot at stake for a lot of people. And the main rule, really the only rule, is that you follow the program. You don't do your own thing and just write down something, you know, that you think I want to see. And that you bring your journal to every single weigh-in. If you don't bring your journal to the weigh-in, you don't get the next week's menu. That's really, it's so straightforward, and that's really all that I can hold over your head to get you to come to the weigh-in and to journal for me, okay? So no journal, no menu. It's simple. You can bring it back, but you have to bring it in to your weigh-in. If you forget it and you want to weigh in, that's fine, but you just don't get the next week's menu until you bring that journal in. Okay? It's really important to us. This means a lot to us. I mean, I really take the time, and I want you to be able to do that for yourself. And then the last sheet on this side is talking about Splenda. I do use Splenda in some of my recipes. I've done a lot of research on Splenda, and I've read every negative article about Splenda, and I've seen who's authored the article in the study, and it's aspartame people, NutraSweet, and it's the sweet and low people. So Splenda's not a bad thing, because we're not going crazy with it, but I definitely will use it in some recipes. If you have a real big problem with it, talk to me about it. But I've tried Truvia, I've tried Stevia, and they don't bake the same as Splenda. So there's a few things that I use it for. Okay, any questions? You guys good so far? All right. Okay, so on the right side of your packet is the program itself. So let's pull the whole thing out. Try to keep it together as best you can. So you can see on top is your journal. Leo is so great, she put in a little thing, or had everybody put a little thing to reinforce the principles of what we're looking for in the journal in there. Okay, the most frequently asked questions. So let's kind of get into this and then out of this a few different times. So during this 4 weeks, what we're doing is we're eating 4 meals a day spread out by 4-hour increments. And the reason that we do that is because your body metabolizes a proper portioned meal for you in about 2.5 hours. And so you have about an hour to an hour and a half before your next meal that your body starts to look for an energy source. It starts to, get a little bit hungry, and it starts to look for something to get it from point A to point B. What we usually do in those circumstances is we just eat a little something, because we're not going to eat dinner until 6 and it's 4:30 and I don't want to be too hungry at dinner, so I'm just going to eat a couple of grapes or a nut or half an apple or whatever it is. That's what most people do, because that's how we're conditioned. We're supposed to eat all, little meals all day long. That's what people have been told. And there's kind of truth to that, but not right now. So what we're doing is we're forcing our body to use our own stored fat as an energy source. Every 100 calories, and calories equal energy. So we're trying to make our body use our own energy source instead of always bringing in an outside source. Does everybody understand that concept? So for 4 weeks, your body will be perfectly okay. You're not going to have any trouble during this time. The leaner you get, you don't necessarily need more food at one sitting, but you might need more food more often. So instead of 4 hours, maybe we're going to go to 3 hours, and then maybe 2.5 hours. So the leaner you get, you need more food more often, not per sitting. Okay, so it's not like you're going to go from eating, a meal that's this big to eating a meal that's that big, because you're still the same person. You're just leaner. So you need to eat closer and closer together because you have less reserve to go from that meal to that meal. Okay? So at the end of the takedown challenge, I'm going to reassess. We're going to redo all your numbers, and we're going to compare them to your starting numbers, and then we'll decide how many calories, how many macronutrients you need now per day and per meal, and how close they need to be together. So just trust me that right now for the next 28 days that you're going to be just fine. It'll be a little uncomfortable. We're not used to it, probably won't like it so much in the very beginning, and then you're going to be perfectly fine. I swear by day 6, everything will change, and it'll just become second nature and more comfortable for you. The first week, all you're doing is thinking about food. You're shopping, you're preparing, you're eating, it starts over. It's like this constant cycle. And then you'll get into a groove and a rhythm, and then you'll be fine. It's just kind of getting there. It's a new habit that you're trying to instill and get on board with. So just know that it will go in that direction. You just have to be a little patient and kind to yourself. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, so I really can't impress upon you enough that we're not going to eat anything in between those 4 hours that contains sugar. Okay, nothing. Not a piece of gum that has sugar in it. Not one grape that has sugar in it. Because your brain just goes, oh, incoming sugar. It doesn't know that you're stopping at one grape. Okay, it's incoming anything. Do you have a question?
Yeah, kind of an obscure question. So, does chewing tobacco have sugar in it?
Well, it has.
How did I get hungry?
It has caffeine in it, right? Doesn't it have caffeine? Nicotine?
Nicotine also has caffeine.
The only reason that I'm sure there's probably not a physiological problem with it, but the only thing is is that it doesn't help you to start to learn about your body and what's really going on, because you're relying on that to get you from here to there. So when you use an energy source like that, then you're kind of robbing yourself of the sense of your own energy source that you're creating. So even when people ask me if they could drink coffee in between meals, I'm not super opposed to it, but I'd rather you start to learn about your own energy, that you will have so much more energy you have no idea. It's like an unlimited amount and source on your body. Even if you had 1 pound of excess fat, it's 3,500 calories. That's a lot of calories. If you could learn how to access it, you have to teach your body to do it. It doesn't know how to do it because you've never asked it to do it. You hear about a runner doing a marathon and they hit the wall, and you know what they do to combat that, right? So they take those glucose tabs, they take little tabs of sugar or goo. It's because they don't know how to use their own fat, their own energy that they possess right there. Because they keep relying on what the industry is telling them to buy, to do, to eat, to take in, because they can't get from point A to point B all by themselves. If they just taught their body to do it, they could run for 5 hours and be perfectly fine. But their body doesn't know how to do it because they never ever let themselves go there, and it's uncomfortable. I've done it. I forced myself into it before as a runner. I don't like it, but now I know how to do it, and so now I'll never suffer like that. So I have an article about that in here, but anyway. So any questions on this so far? I'm going to Google your information because I want to know now. Okay. So there's a lot of great information. These are the most frequently asked questions and my answers, okay? So if you're emailing me these questions, I'll know that you're not reading this sheet. So take the time to read it. It's only one sheet. It's really, everyone asks me these exact same questions. So please read it. Okay. Then the orange sheet is some tips. It's some things to help you to get through this process, to make it simple. I always really can't impress upon you how I really just want this to be easy. Don't overthink it. Don't make it so hard that you can't do it. When I hear people go, I just can't do it. Well, you're eating anyway, right? You're already eating a couple meals a day for sure. Isn't it easier to have someone tell you what to eat and tell you what to buy and tell you how much of it to eat? I mean, really, ultimately, this is easier than trying to wing it and figure it out. Yes?
If you have food allergies, do you offer substitutions?
Yeah, individually we can talk about that for sure. She was asking if you have certain food allergies, you know, is there modifications? If it's something that you can't figure out on your own because you already know how to go there, email me. I'm always accessible to you. Any question you have, email me. That's why I'm here. This is what I do for a living. This is my job. This is really, and it's my joy. So please take me up on that when I say that. But these things that are here are tips to help you, because I want this to be a process that everyone's successful with. If you're not successful, I feel like I kind of let you down somehow, and I don't know how I can help you unless you talk to me and communicate with me. So make sure that you read all the information and make sure you try to talk to me before you give up or think you can't do it, or you turn to a friend instead of turn to me, because this is why I'm here. Okay, so use me. All right, this is a great sheet. Yes?
Do you have any literature on how family members can be more supportive if they're not doing the takedown challenge themselves?
Well, all of my recipes, she's asking if I have any literature on making things more successful in your home for the family at the same time. All my recipes are family-friendly food. There's really nothing that your family wouldn't want to eat. Maybe not the vegetarian meal, which you might never even make anyway. And it's all portioned to be for a full family. So you're basically all eating together, you just know your portion. So it's intended to be like that, because I know not a whole family does it. If a husband and a wife do it together, they both tend to be a lot more successful. But if you're on your own, it's still food. I mean, I know a lot of people are repeating the takedown challenge, and would anybody tell me that their kids wouldn't eat that food? Or I don't think I've ever heard that. The biggest complaint I got was that everybody ate all my food and I have to cook again, you know, so that's a good problem. So, okay, and then the white sheet is just about some time-saving shortcuts, just some things to make it easy on you. Obviously, I want you to go as fresh as you can because it's better for you. But I get it. I have 4 kids and jobs, and I understand. So when you can cut a corner if it's going to get you in your kitchen versus going to a restaurant. So do it. It's worth it. It's better than not, you know, making your own food. Okay, we're going to kind of get into the meat of the program now. So let's look at just the outside of the weekly menu. So week 1 menu, it says. Just a little yellow book. So keep it on the outside because that's what we're going to talk about. Try not to open it yet. So everyone has the same menu right now, but everyone in their packet has their individual portion page that I made for you based on your statistics, based on your numbers and all your calculations that I did on your particular body. Okay, so you can see for breakfast, you have 3 choices right now. Lunch, 3 choices. Snack, we'll go over that in a minute. And then dinner, 4 choices. So at dinner, I'm always going to give you one vegetarian option that will always be the 4th option. You might want to try it. You might want to experiment with vegetarian food. You have a really easy recipe that's already been tested. So you might want to give it a go. You don't have to. You don't have to make any of these. You might make one of these, but they're all ideas and new recipes for you, okay? You do not have to make everything on here. Don't get overwhelmed right now. Just these are options. At the bottom you can see I always have little notes. This always pertains to this menu. So my notes are really helpful because I give you some little options and tricks and tips and ideas. So make sure you read the notes, because they always pertain to the menu up above, okay? You can see all the items and they're kind of categorized by the type of food that they are. Okay, so everything on your grocery list that has an A next to it belongs in recipe A. So if you are going to make recipe A, you would need to buy all the ingredients with an A next to it. If you're never going to make the banana berry smoothie recipe A, don't buy anything with an A next to it. Okay, it's pretty easy. So you might want to kind of go through your weekly menu, choose the things that you want to try, you know, cross off the things that you're not going to try so you don't have to bother with them at the grocery store. You can go to any grocery store. My Takedown Challenge is now in other states, so I had to kind of disassociate myself to products, you know, particular items that are only in California. So I'm not as specific as I used to be about that. However, Albertsons at the Yorktown in Maine, so in the Seacliff Shopping Center, works directly with me. So they have all of my weekly menus. They've had them for a month now. And every single week, their end cap in the natural food section, it has my, where's my logo? This little Takedown Challenge logo above the end cap and the Training Spot logo above the end cap. And all of the things that are kind of odd on your grocery list are on the end cap to make it easier for you. They buy a lot, they prepare for you, they know that it's going to happen. They know that there's 150 or whatever of you this time, and so they are going to be ready for you. I already went there tonight. It's set up. It's ready to go for the week 1 grocery list. So by Sunday, it'll be wiped out. They'll keep replenishing it throughout the week, but come next week, it'll be the new stuff. So if there's things you want to keep making, you might want to, you know, buy them. But you don't have to go to Albertsons. It's just a way to keep it easy for you. If you're a faithful Ralph shopper, go for it. You can do it. You can buy everything you need there. If you're a faithful Trader Joe's, you can make this work. Whatever you do, it's just Albertsons works with me, so they'll have everything that you need. Okay? Except the protein powder. We have it here, and Mother's Market carries it, but that's the only 2 places you can buy that. Okay? So does everybody understand just how to read the grocery list and the menu right now? Okay? That's all I need to know right now. Okay. So what I want you to think about is if we're eating every 4 hours, you need to think about when you're starting your day. Because what time you start is what time you finish. 7 a.m., 7 p.m., and everything in between. 7, 11, 3, 7. So you got to think about your day and you got to kind of strategize. It will some days not be perfect. It will some days be like money. And in the beginning, you know, you're thinking about it all the time, and then you're not going to be super hungry and you'll be like, oh, it's time to eat again. After the first week, you're going to be like, oh, it's almost 7. Oh my God, I can't wait to eat. I can't wait to eat. It'll be like that. It'll kind of go in cycles as your body gets comfortable with this. So think about how you're going to plan your day. Okay? I want you to make sure you're drinking at least a minimum of 16 ounces of water in between every meal. Okay? So that's not a lot. That's, you know, 2 small bottles in 4 hours. I think you can power that down. The more exercise you do, the more you perspire, the more water you need to drink to replenish. If you're not going to the bathroom or your urine isn't almost clear, you're dehydrated. You think you're drinking a lot of water, you're probably not drinking enough. So the hotter it is, the more you're exercising, you have to drink more than this. This is the minimum amount of water I want you to drink. Okay, but your urine should almost be clear to be not dehydrated. Okay, just know that. Okay, so now I want you to pull out the handwritten portion page that you have and keep your menu handy. Yes?
Do you have any ideas of things for, if we're traveling or we can't order away from our kitchen, or say my wife's gone, or do you have any ideas as far as, especially locally, any restaurants and the meals that they serve? I know Matt said something about at Lazy Dog, they had something that was TakeDown friendly, or like about if there's anything at like El Pueblo Loco they serve that would work.
Yeah, can you email me about that when that happens, and then even if you can tell me where you're going, I can even help you a little bit more precisely. The question is, if you're traveling, you know, what are you going to do when you're not able to make the food or bring the food? What are you going to do? Hopefully you're making enough beforehand, or you're portioning at least enough beforehand that you at least have a visual on how much protein you're supposed to have, how big of a salad it's supposed to be. You know, I want you to experience a lot of different foods so that when you're in that situation, it makes more sense to you. You look down and you're like, that is way too much chicken for me. Because, you know, when you start weighing it, you're going to be really surprised what's appropriate and what you've been doing. It's really shocking because you're like, oh, it's chicken, it's clean, it's perfect, it's just protein, I can have as much as I want. You can't. You can't have as much as you want. No matter who you are, no matter if you ran a marathon this morning, you can still only burn so many calories at one sitting. It doesn't matter if you ran a marathon, let's just say hypothetically you ran a marathon and you burned 2,000 calories or whatever that morning, okay? But your body is only capable of burning 400 calories at one sitting, okay? So now we have a little bit of a deficit, right? But you can only handle 400 calories. So now you're like, oh, I just ran a marathon. I could eat pancakes, I could eat eggs, I could eat whatever I wanted. I just, worked out for 4 hours, whatever it is. If you eat 450 calories and your body can only handle 400 calories, you're going to store that extra 50 as fat. Throughout the day, it's going to make a big difference, because you burned those excess calories. But even chicken, even salad, even, the cleanest sources of food, too much of it at one time is too much. So when I give you your portions, that's what your body is capable of burning, because I know what your lean mass is. That's how much muscle you have less, so I know what your muscles and your organs and your bones weigh, every single one of you in this room, less all your body fat. Okay, so that's kind of like your metabolism. That's like your walking around metabolism. That's your calorie burning machine. So I know how many calories you need at one meal, which is why I gave you this handwritten portion page. So if you decide, well, I didn't eat as much at breakfast, so I'm going to eat twice as much at lunch, or I'm going to bank my food, that doesn't work. Because now, even though it's perfect food, it's all good, too much of it at one time is not good. Okay? So understand that and just trust me that I figured it all out for you. And you don't even have to think about it. Yes?
Rotating
order.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute, yeah. Okay, so one quick thing I just want to go over, and then we're going to kind of go up and back and forward and underneath, and you guys are going to be a little crazy for just a minute, so just listen to me. Okay, so these numbers here on the side, our word for a portion, that's all you need to know, it's a word, it's called units, okay? It just means portion. Our word is unit, okay? So this person has 10 units overall for the whole day, but I broke that big number down into 4 meals, okay? So her first meal is a 2 unit, second meal is a 3 unit, the third meal is a 2 unit, and dinner is a 3 unit. Those numbers equal 10. You have a different number, maybe you might have the same number, okay? So your first meal, or this person's first meal, is a 2 unit meal, okay? Don't overthink it, don't think about it at all, just know that it's a 2. You might have a 3, you might have a 4. So then you're going to go to the recipe, because I'm going to have the banana berry smoothie. That's what I chose, and I have a 2 unit meal. Recipe A, it says 2 unit portion. That's my exact portion. I'm going to put all that stuff in a blender, and that's the right amount of food for me for that meal. Got it? So if you have a 3, you have the 3 unit portion. If you have a 4, you have a 4 unit portion, and a 5 unit portion. Okay? Now, if you have another meal throughout the day that's the same portion number, or you wanted to have, I don't want you to do this, or you wanted to have this smoothie 4 times in one day based on your number, you could do that, right? Do you understand that? So if your second meal is a 3, you could have a 3 unit portion now. Just because it's listed as a breakfast choice, it doesn't have to be breakfast. If you got home at the end of the day, and the last thing you want to do is cook because it's as hot as it is right now, and you'd rather just make a smoothie, you could do that as long as you stay within your portion number. Because that's the right amount of calories, the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbs, and the right amount of fat for you at that meal. Everybody understand that? Okay, wow, you guys are so smart. Okay, now there's a few times on here where I actually had to write out for you what it is because the portion doesn't quite add up in my recipe. You know, like spaghetti and meatballs. How do you have like a cup of that? So I was real specific. This many meatballs, this much pasta, this much sauce. So make sure you look at your handwritten portion page because there's even times where some people need some extra food on here that's not on the recipe. Like you might need to add some vegetables, like a bag of fresh vegetables. It's written on here. Okay, don't forget, I give you clues. There's like so much information here. I'm like in your face at all times. You just have to look for it. Yes?
You say bag of veggies, are you talking snack bag, gallon bag?
I happen to have a picture. Here's a sandwich size snack or a Ziploc. It's in your packet. If I say half full, this is what I mean. 3/4 full, this is what I mean. Full, that's what I mean. So it's a sandwich size Ziploc. But I write it down. Okay, the one thing that I did was on here at your snack, which is always in the middle of the day for everyone, can be like, it's your afternoon, usually 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whatever it is. It should be the easiest thing that you do throughout the day because that's usually when you're busy, either you're at work still or you're schlepping your kids around or whatever you happen to be doing. Keep it really simple then. If you want to have food and you're that, adventurous, then do it. But if you just want to have a bar, you can do that. I've got it all written down for you, don't worry. But I wrote on here that there's a snack idea page in your booklet. It's not in your booklet because I made it bigger for you because a lot of people they wanted to keep it like on their refrigerator. So the first choice you have is called a pack and go. It's handwritten on here on your portion page, this information, okay? So this person has a 2-unit afternoon snack. So she's going to go to the pack and go page, okay? 2 units, right? So if you read this, it's going to explain what I'm doing, but I'm going to flip it over. There's a protein column, a carbohydrate column, and a fat column. Everything in each column is a 1 unit portion, okay? So if this person has to make up a 2 unit meal, she's going to multiply each category by 2. 2 units worth of protein, 2 units worth of carbohydrates, and 2 units worth of fats equal a meal. You will always eat protein and carbohydrate and fat every time you eat. You're never just going to have an apple. You'll have an apple, you're going to have turkey jerky, and you're going to have peanut butter for your fat. Okay, you don't have to have that. That's just an example of a meal. Okay? So 1 unit portions, whatever your unit number is, you multiply that column. Does anybody not understand that? Yes?
So 2 plus 2 plus 2
Yep.
equals 2.
Yep. So she has a 2 unit meal. Kathy's going to have, tell me what you might have for protein. 2 portions of jerky, so that would be 1 ounce now. She has to have 1 ounce of jerky because it's a half an ounce equals 1 unit. She's a 2 unit meal, so she needs 1 ounce of jerky. But she's not done. Now she has to have a carb. Salad? Okay, so where's salad? So she can have at the very bottom 2 cups of any salad that she wants. Okay? And then she has to have fat. So probably salad dressing. So she needs 1 full tablespoon of salad dressing on her 2 cups of lettuce, and she's going to eat her jerky separate. Unless she wants to put it in her salad, which would be kind of odd, but you could do that. Does anybody not get that? Okay. I want you to read this because there's something that might confuse you, but I don't want to go over it tonight. Okay, but later. Yes? Okay, so Yvonne's asking, could she do this and never even make one recipe? Could she do this? Absolutely. You could make breakfast out of this, you could make lunch out of this, snack and dinner. You would never even have to have one recipe and use one recipe if you don't want. You'd be missing out on an opportunity to learn about a lot of different portions of foods. But if you're not a cook, or you don't want to be a cook, or you just want to make this so simple, I think my son, Matt did this for every single meal. He made the smoothie for breakfast, and he packed 2 of these. No, he did 1 of these and 1 bar meal, and then he had dinner. Yeah. But you could definitely do this. So this is not just meant to be at the snack time. That's just the most appropriate time for me to throw it in there. Okay? All right. Okay, and then the other option at that meal or any other meal would be a bar. Okay? So the bars, I give you kind of a why I like and why I don't like certain bars and what your portion might be. So if you need a 2 unit meal or portion or snack or whatever it is, these are the bars and things that you can have. 3 unit, 4 unit, 5 unit, so you can see how to do that. You can have this at breakfast. You could have this at lunch. The difference is it's this much. That's it. Right there. Is it enough? Yeah, it is. It's the perfect amount of calories, proteins, carbs, fats, everything for you. But is it going to hold you for 4 hours? Probably not. You're going to be pretty hungry. So I'll be right with you. So food is always your best bet. You're going to get a lot more nutrients. You're going to be a lot healthier. You're going to be a lot happier. It takes a lot longer to eat that than that bar. That bar is gone. And you're like, dang. It might work for you at one of your meals every day, though. So that's okay. Yes?
One, if you're making, say, the oatmeal, big deep recipe, is that just freezer?
No, oatmeal will last for about a week in your refrigerator. Portion it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then the other question.
I'll repeat it.
If you don't like fish, can you substitute it with something else?
Read my notes. It's on the notes. She doesn't like fish, so there's another kind of, when you're substituting a pure protein for a pure protein, as long as you know the portion, I'm good with that. Because I'll always do a poultry recipe, I'll always do a beef recipe, I'll always do a fish, and I'll always do a vegetarian. So let's say you want to make the vegetarian, it's in my notes, this answer, but you wanted to have it with chicken. Can you do that? Yeah, because it's an even swap. Now, the problem is if it's the spaghetti and meatballs, and that's like kind of a combined meal, how do you do that? Because there's carbs even in the meatballs because of the breadcrumbs, and there's carbs in the pasta sauce, so that's not a good swap. But an even for an even, so if it's just rice and just pasta, or just rice and salad, those things are even, right? Or the just chicken and steak, they're even, as long as you know your portion. So maybe wait a week so you have more ideas for those swaps. But that's okay as long as it's the same food source. Okay? I usually give those tips though in my little notes. So refer to that so that you can kind of get some new ideas and maybe make the same meal but have it be completely different the next time you make it. Okay? All right, so anybody not clear about the bars? So I make a meal replacement cookie. That's the Way Good cookie. You can only purchase that at either gym. I deliver on a Tuesday. I'm not doing pre-orders anymore. They get delivered on Tuesday. There's 4 flavors. It's a 2-unit meal, and they're really, really nutritious for you. They're tons of fiber. They're only this big, but after you eat it, they feel like this big because there's so much fiber. So it will hold you. Okay. We also make these parfaits. They're cottage cheese and a really, really high protein, not bad for you, high protein yogurt that has very few carbs. And then I make a organic granola. And those will be at either gym as well. They're in 2 and 3-unit portions. And you can have that at any 2 or 3-unit meal choice. If you want a 4-unit, for the guys that have 4 units, just talk to Leah. She makes them, and maybe she can make you a 4-unit if you ask her nicely. But those are great. They're handy, they're really tasty, and they're easy for you to take and go. Okay. All right, so do I have any questions on this sheet right now? On just the food part? Yes.
I just want to know if this is a typo. On the 10-unit, it says that 4.5 ounces of flank steak.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be 4 or is that supposed to be 3 for a 3-unit?
4.5 because flank is less dense than poultry. So that's why I chose flank. And hanger would be the same and skirt would be the same. Now fillet, you get less. It's even with chicken.
Okay.
So flank is 1.5 ounces per unit. That's what she was asking. Chicken's 1 ounce per unit, so you get a little bit more of the steak. Okay. Now remember, you could have red meat every single day as long as you stay in your proper portion. Your body will use that. It won't hang around and clog your arteries. That's when people get into trouble. So having red meat is not a bad thing as long as you have the right amount of red meat. Okay, so that's all right. All right, the last thing I wanted to show you on this sheet, but you can certainly have questions for me still, is your cardio recommendation, your heart rate, and your strength training recommendation. All I do is the information that you provided for me on your sign-up sheet, how active you currently are. I bumped it up just a slight notch. Marcy, maybe yours a little bit more. But so if you're doing 0, I'm not going to tell you to do something 5 times a day. I'm going to ask you to do something 2 to 3 times a week for 30 to 45 minutes maybe. I write it down though. And it's appropriate to you, and it's really, really the minimum what I think you need to be doing. So try. You might not get it every single week. Sometimes you might exceed it. Do the best that you can. Now the heart rate's kind of a funny thing. People think when they do cardio, they have to just go crazy. They have to just be drenched and miserable and just hate it, and that's good cardio. You really did a good job. It's not really the way that it is, okay? So you burn more body fat calories, so you burn fat calories when your heart rate is actually at a slower pace. So the heart rate that I wrote down for you is based on your age and a certain percentage of your maximum heart rate, okay? So this is not the heart rate that you'd want to be using if you're getting ready for a race, because that's totally different. But if you're trying to be in the race for your life and burn a lot of fat calories, this is the proper place for you to be. The biggest difference is you could go for an hour at this heart rate. If you're trying to do something so insane like going running in the deep sand at the beach, because that's what somebody told you should do, you might be able to last for 15 minutes, maybe, if you're lucky. But you could walk at this heart rate for 45 minutes, for an hour, and be great. Now, if you love doing boot camp and your heart rate's getting above this, it's not a big deal. It's really not gonna, it's not gonna be a huge difference, but don't think you have to do that in order to burn calories. When we get bodybuilders and fitness girls ready for shows, we don't ask them to go running and, go do crazy things. We just say, get on the treadmill, put in a movie, and walk. And for 2 hours, maybe, they have to do it because they have to burn that many excess fat calories. But it's very doable. Maybe they have to do it twice a day, depending on what they need to burn. But it's nothing that they can't do. You should be able to carry on a conversation and be sweating at the same time, and that's probably right where you are. That's where you need to be, okay? So on that Tuesday night, that hike in the Bolsa Chica, this is where you're gonna be, because if you wanna talk to me, you got to stay up with me. And if you can't talk, then you need to slow down, okay? You have to be able to talk. There has to be enough oxygen for you to talk. That's how you know. Feeling it, that's fine, but the better indicator is that you can talk. If you can't talk, you need to slow it down. Because I want you to be able to go for 45 minutes or an hour. That's the goal, okay? Anybody not understand that? Okay. And then the last thing is a strength training recommendation. Strength training, it sounds funny, and Paul says it to me all the time, it is the fountain of youth. It is. I'm telling you, the older we get, our body is every day getting rid of muscle. It takes so much more work to carry around muscle than it takes to carry around fat. Fat is like just empty. There's nothing to it. A pound of muscle requires calories just to stay there, just to live on your body. So it's like having an engine and being able to burn more calories. So the more muscle you have, the more your lean mass is, the higher that number is, you need more food. You need more calories. So this is not about deprivation at all. At the end of this program, most of you will be getting more food. And now if you start cutting back on your own while you're on this program and then you're done with this program, you will gain weight like that. Because not only did you lose muscle, because your body says, this muscle takes a lot of calories just to keep it. So I'm going to keep the fat and get rid of the muscle. That's what you're telling your body to do when you start cutting your own calories. So trust this is the right number for you. And you have to strength train. I don't care if you do it for a half an hour or an hour, just do something. Boot camp, I'm sorry, it's not strength training. A lot of you wrote that down. Even people wrote down that yoga is strength training, Pilates is strength training. It's not. At least at boot camp you have some, sand bells and some kettlebells, and you have a little bit. But yoga and Pilates, you're only pushing your own body weight. You're not pushing anything that your body can't already do. So you're not asking it to grow or change. So you have to lift weights. The older you get, it's going away every single day, I promise you. Pretty soon, what's going to be holding up your bones? Nothing. You're going to be injured, and you're going to have a fat, skinny body because you got rid of all your muscle, because you wanted to be thin. So that's not a good place to be. I'd rather you weigh 150 pounds and look amazing because you added a bunch of muscle. It's more important if you come to your weigh-ins and you start strength training and your weigh-ins aren't going really well, but your clothes are getting looser and your friends are going, what's going on? Because you're adding muscle at the same rate that you're losing body fat. That's an amazing opportunity. So you're improving your composition, but the scale doesn't know. But you know, you can tell. So if you start strength training and the scale isn't moving, don't get mad. It's a great, great problem. Okay? Is it? Yes.
Everything you said was true.
Just as good as weights,
I'm sorry?
the band. just as good.
The resistance bands can be just as good as weights as long as they're hard. You know, if you could just stand there and do 15 reps and then the next time you go you do the same 15 reps, you're toning, but you're never going to really change. So I used to see people at 24 Hour Fitness, you know, and they go there and they do their thing and they look the same year after year after year. And I used to think, what a shame, you know. But then I thought, well, at least they look the same year after year after year, and they're getting older, but they still look the same. They'll never change, maybe, you know, but they'll never really improve. So you have to not be able to do it almost to make the change. Your body has to be able to say, I can't do that, in order for it to build and change. If you don't ask your body to do something that it can't do, it just won't.
Yeah, the truth is that you have to train like you want to get huge to get even a little bit of muscle. You're never going to wake up one day and go, oh my gosh, I've gone too far, I'm huge. Muscle doesn't grow that fast. It takes so much work to get even a little, that if you're in a gym on your own and you're doing 5-pound dumbbells because you're afraid of getting too big of muscles, you are so wasting your time. Wouldn't it be better to train really hard and get where you want to go quickly, and then you can back off, as opposed to just always trying to get someplace because you're afraid of putting on too much muscle? Yeah, so it's funniest when I have, you know, these are some pictures of me. I'll have a 25-year-old kid come in here and he's 120 pounds. He goes, I don't really want to look like you. I'm like, yeah, don't worry. You don't have that much time. But I mean, it's funny like that, because people think that if I train a month later, I'm afraid I'm going to look like that, and I really don't want to look like that. And the funniest is when they don't know it's me, and they say, I really don't want to look like that because that's gross. And I'm like, oh, I totally agree. And then later, after they're a client, and then later, then maybe they come up and go, that's you, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah. And they go, oh, I'm sorry what I said earlier. I said, no, it's okay. That's just my thing.
But the other thing about a lot of women too, I'll get right with Yvonne, is that when they start seeing muscle, you know, they start seeing a little definition, guess what? That muscle was always there. So what's missing now? A little fat. All of a sudden you can see it. It's like, oh my God, I didn't know that was there. So it feels really good and you feel sore, but if you can't see it, it's just because it's being covered up. So once you start seeing it, that's great. I mean, that's really awesome. I don't know if any of you know Linda Hamilton, who she is. Remember the Terminator, and she got those big shoulders? Well, we knew her and we trained her back then, and that was in the beginning. And she stood in our mirror at our condo in Venice, and she was like, oh my God, you know. But she wasn't really getting that much bigger. She was getting that much leaner. And it was just all of a sudden she had this definition that she just didn't even know she had. She didn't know she had the genetic capacity to look like that until she got so lean. So that was really exciting, you know, and so embrace that and be excited about that, because that's a really fun place to be as we're getting older, to start looking better and feeling better about ourselves instead of going, oh, I'm getting older. Oh well. Yeah,
physiologically we all have that six-pack. It's just how much do we have covering it so it doesn't really show. I mean, my abs are as good as that picture, but they're not, because I have a little bit more body fat than that picture, so they're not quite as sharp, but they're still there. So we all have that. I mean, when people have never met Carolyn, they see me and, oh, you're a bodybuilder, whatever. Did you marry a bodybuilder? I go, no, you would never mistake my wife as being a bodybuilder. And yet she's lifted for 25 years. I mean, she's in here throwing around 30-pound dumbbells, and yet, you know, it doesn't just grow because you just lift. I mean, you have to be after it and eat right and do it consistently to see any kind of change at all. And for those of you who are consistent clients of ours, even for years, you know how true that is, because you train really hard and you've got so much stronger, and it just doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It's being consistent. You got a question?
Would you consider P90X strength training?
P90X is a type of strength training. I like what they talk about with the muscle confusion, where it's that same principle of making the muscles, shocking the muscles to respond. But even that, you're still limited to how intense it can be if you don't have more and heavier weights. That's why still this equipment, with everything else that comes and goes, with the Swiss balls and the Bosu balls and the bands and the kettlebell, everything else, these are never going to go away. They've been there for 60 years, and they're still as potent today, because the bottom line is that strength training, the resistance training, the weight-bearing exercises is what makes the biggest difference and what's truly necessary. And it really is the fountain of youth, because I'm actually 83 years old. No, but I am 55, and when I started competing when I was 20 years old, I had no idea I would still be able to do it at this age. And the picture where I'm down like that, I was 52 years old in that picture, and I'm still doing it. I mean, it's really an opportunity that my parents didn't have because they didn't know to do that back then. So you can change, and actually the older you are, the bigger difference it makes. I mean, when we're 20s and we're carrying around a lot of muscle and we're active, maybe we don't need to lift so much. But 40s and 50s and 60s, it makes a bigger difference, and it impacts your quality of life.
So within this 28 days, you suggest going heavier weights with less reps, or doing what you usually do?
Well, you know what? I suggest that anyway. I have always been a fan of that. And you have to know that I've been doing this for 40 years, and I've experimented in every possible way. We're doing tons of reps and very low reps. So it's the in-between. It's the 12 to 15 to 10 reps, going really as heavy as you can, and heavy as you can safely. That's why it's nice to have a trainer or have a training partner, somebody that can be there to help you push that little bit extra, because that's what makes the difference. When I lift, if I get to 10 reps, and 10 is as easy as number 7, I keep going, even if in my mind I was just going to do 10, because it's those couple extra ones that are going to make the biggest difference. Everything I'm doing is to get to those last couple. So to stop short of that is you're kind of not necessarily wasting your time, because it's all good, but to really make a difference, it's those last reps. It's doing that extra set.
Yvonne, do you still have a question?
Experiment, or is there some ratio to what you weigh to what you should be trying to lift?
No, the best thing about weight training and starting weight training, there's no formula, except that you try to do more than you're normally capable of doing. So that means if I have a 60-year-old gal come in and she's never lifted before, anything she does is going to make a difference. As opposed if I get somebody that comes in that's 20 and they've been lifting. So I'm trying to take each person and do that little bit extra. So the only formula is what you're capable of doing yourself at that moment.
What's the ideal time after you eat to train?
The question is, what's the ideal time to train after you eat? You know, that's kind of a personal thing.
Is it?
When you have some clients that come here at 4 or 5 in the morning. So I have a feeling that they probably train after, but maybe not. Maybe some of them
Eat after.
It's kind of a personal choice.
Eat after.
But like I need a couple
He
meals
just meant to say that.
before I train. So I just know that about myself. I need to be warmed up a little bit. It needs to be late morning. Like I couldn't roll out of bed and train the way that I do. My body would go, wait, we were just here relaxing and now we're here?
It's personal preference. It really is. But remember your day. You know, your 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever your day is. So if you start your first meal at 5, your last meal's at 5, that's really difficult, you know? So I really try to go as late as you. It's okay to eat after 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock or whatever time at night. It's okay, because you're eating properly. If you eat your last meal at 5 and you don't go to bed till 9 or 10, you're gonna be really, really hungry. It's natural for you to be hungry. So try to start a little later so that your last meal, if you're a nighttime snacker, it's a lot easier to make your last meal later so that you're not so in that mode to try to eat.
So after weight training now, I do scoop of protein right afterward. Am I gonna stop doing that during this?
Yes. Because you're just going to wait till the next meal. And it doesn't matter when that meal is.
That scoop of protein is nice. That's good.
Yeah. But you can have a shake as your meal afterwards. You know, do a complete shake so it makes it even nicer and it's more calories and everything you need at that moment. So just kind of, you know, you can schedule your day so that that shake ends up being when you're done training.
Okay, so what you're gonna do from here is hopefully you're gonna go to Sunday hike, and then Tuesday power walk, Oh, and then Friday, anytime from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 p.m., or Saturday from 7, is that what it is?
8.
Sorry, 8 to noon. You could go to either gym and do a weigh-in. Every week it'll rotate like that, okay? So Friday or Saturday, this coming Friday or Saturday, and then consecutive every week after that. Either gym, no appointment necessary, journal, walk in, do your weigh-in. It's not meant to be a counseling appointment. Do that with me during the week, okay, emailing. Because I'm not always here, obviously. I can't be in both places at one time. So I'm going to be at Main Street, Paul will be here, Madeline will be here, Leah will be there. You know, we'll all be taking care of you. So if you have questions for me, email me, okay? Don't save them up for the Friday weigh-in, because it's a line. It can be a quick turnaround if that's all you're coming in for. If you expect us to sit down and chat with you, you've got a lot of people out there that you're going to have to face on the way out, and they're not going to be happy with you. Okay, so email me your questions. Don't save them up for Fridays or Saturdays. Okay?
Friday and Saturday are weigh-ins.
Weigh-ins. Every Friday and Saturday. Friday from 7 to 6, and Saturday 8 to noon. Either gym. Yes?
And meals, we start that Sunday or Monday?
People will start. There are people who will start them tonight. Yeah, it's up to you. Most people will leave here and go shopping today or Saturday, prep on Sunday, and start on Monday. The people that have repeated the Takedown Challenge probably have a lot of this stuff already, and they'll just start, maybe even tomorrow. Okay, so my grocery list looks really huge every single week. You only have to buy flour once. You only have to buy salt once, oil once, okay? So I put every ingredient, but once you've bought it, you've bought it. You probably have a lot of things already. I'm not trying to make you go broke. I'm trying to save you money because you're not going to be eating out. You're going to be making your own food. Share with your friends. Maybe you make this recipe, I'll make that, and then we'll share it. Make this easy. You can do that. Even if your friend's not doing the takedown, but she wants to experience the food, she can make something. Okay? Any other questions? Yes?
The recipes, if it calls for, you can eat everything that it calls for, correct? Maybe not put the tomatoes on the recipe?
That's fine.
That's okay?
Yeah.
If there's a sauce, you don't have to have it?
That was a question.
Well, the question is, though, she's wanting to know if she can start omitting things from recipes. If it's like avocado, that's your fat source. You need to have that. You can exchange it with another fat. If you're not sure, go to that pack and go sheet and make another choice, okay? But if it's tomatoes and onions and you don't really like those and you'd rather have peppers, don't go so crazy with this that you make yourself crazy and you eat things you don't like. Don't ever eat something you don't like. Don't suffer through something. It's not worth it. If you know you hate that recipe, don't make that recipe. You know, don't think that you're going to benefit greater if you try every single thing on here knowing that you don't like half of them. Okay? Keep it simple. Keep it super simple. Okay? If you want to go through this again, you can tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. or Monday night at 6 p.m. Email me though.
Thanks for coming.
Good job.
If you want to buy any protein powder tonight or anything else, yeah.